Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. We're recording this on March 7th, early 6:50 in the morning. Tyler, first thing I look at is a disgusting photo in the back behind you. But it's good to see you, my friend. It is good to have baseball back, and we're also joined here again by Brian Johnson over there in the left corner, looking good over there. Guys, what's going on? How we doing?
Doing well.
Good. I know we're going to talk some MLB. We're going to get into the NFL, of course, with our baby Scheffner up there. He's got some good stuff for us. I got a couple questions for him regarding the NFL that I want to, pick your brain on a little bit. So, even though I know in my mind the NFL isn't always relevant, I know in that mind of yours, it's going 24/7. So I want to get that. I want to see what you think is a big deal right now with the NFL as well. D, speaking of your Giants hat there and your Giants background, we wanted to get into the MLB a little bit more here on the podcast, so we're going to start there with it right now. Spring training back in action. I saw you tweeted yesterday, a little Marty Lurie action. For people that don't live in the Bay Area, Marty Lurie is a legend. He's somehow on the radio about every weekend for about 25 hours. He somehow pulls it off and just is able to talk baseball for forever. He's an old timer. So I know you're pretty pumped to have baseball back. Giants, have you been listening to any of the spring training just to for even just a minute or something?
I've listened to a little bit of it just to hear the sounds and get all the nostalgia out of the way. They're off to a slow start, but it's preseason, so I don't really care about the record. Cueto looked good, which is a promising sign. What was that?
It looked good?
Cueto.
Oh, okay. And a good sign, you mean as in trading him, hopefully, at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever we do with him, just as long as he produces, and then our prize signing of Tommy Stella's hitting the ball.
There you go. I had to laugh, though, when I did, because when we were preparing for today, or when I was preparing for the podcast, I had to look up the A's and Giants record there, and they're both, whatever, it's spring training, they're both under 500, but the only thing I did look at that was funny with the Giants was they
1-3-2.
They've only scored 16 runs, and they've given up 25. They've scored like 8 less runs than any other team so far in spring training. So you might have another poor offense to look forward to this year. But you're pretty used to that as a Giants fan, I think, by now. You have to be.
I mean, even when we were good, we were a poor offense. So
I know. That's kind of funny. Brian, I know me and you used to just go to games all the time, A's games and stuff like that growing up. And I kind of wanted to start there with fans now in California now being, allowed somewhat back into the stadium. I believe we're going to be they've been somehow told they're going to be going into the red tier before opening day, these teams. So, you have the presidents and the mayors coming out saying thank you and stuff like that. So makes you seem like it's, it's going to be official and stuff like that. So basically what that means for, people like us in California is we have 4 tiers. We have the red tier, or we have 3 tiers. We have the red tier that allows 20% of the fan base in, and then you go to orange, which is 33%, and then yellow, which is 67%. Currently, we're in the purple, which is like 100 people or less or something like that. So that's why we haven't had any stadiums. So I thought it was funny when they said that'll be, the A's guy said that means 11,000 people can come into the stadium. And I was like, it sounds about like a normal night. So what do you guys think of the stadiums being open again in California? You think it's a good thing, not a bad, don't really care? I think it's kind of cool to have at least start moving in that direction again.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of weird just having no fans in the stands, even for the World Series. I mean, it's got
Well,
to be kind
they had
of.
fans in the stands for the World Series,
Oh, they did.
just not full capacity.
Yeah,
It was
I'm just
Texas.
saying.
I think
I'm
they
even
had
saying. I'm even
Texas
saying
is good
during.
on that. Say that again, Brian.
I'm saying during the year. I mean,
Yeah.
you just had cardboard fans, and it seemed kind of weird.
Yeah, no, you're right. During the whole regular season, they did have that, and then just towards at the World Series, they had fans. Me and Tyler talked about it a few times on the podcast before. Was we were kind of curious to see the effect that it would have on the players with no fans. And it was kind of fun at times to hear the like to hear the chitter chatter and stuff like that. But like just having some of the spring training, you can kind of hear the oohs and the ahs a little bit. And I don't know, what do you think? See, you going to be going to any games here? Are you waiting, or how are you going to approach that? I kind of really want to go because I've never taken my boys to a game, but I don't know.
Yeah, if I have the opportunity to go, I'll definitely be. I'm not like scared of like the virus or anything, but I have a feeling the tickets, especially for Giants, might be driven up for resale. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, the A's will be able to keep up with the other teams' attendance this year. That'll be nice.
We might be the high. No, we might be one of the highest in California.
You probably will be because your stadium's so large.
And we have they're going to do like pods of 2 and 4 or something like that, and so we'll see how. I just thought it was interesting that now we're kind of in California, especially just I don't know, just whatever at the virus. It just seems so politically driven at times. Like these, oh, now we're magically open right before the stadium. Like I don't know, just some of this stuff. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like oh, the schools are now kind of. I don't know. Like is it because the lawsuits are happening? Is it because people are trying to recall Governor Newsom? It's just I don't know. Like I kind of think it's like politics and sports. You don't want them to go together, but they always end up going together at some point, huh?
It seemed like there's a big shift on this Corona thing once we got a new president.
It definitely does, and I don't know, just maybe that. I mean, but this does nothing to do with like who we're voting for or anything. It's just kind of like you're right. It just seems that way. Like the shift has been a little bit different in that regard. So I don't know. We'll see. All I know is this: more things are happening in the direction in California that are at least more positive. So something's happening. Something's behind that for sure. So I know we'll see what happens with that with the stadiums now with the fans coming in. I'm excited for that, and hopefully being able to take Derek and Xavier to a game here shortly. To an A's game, especially.
Maybe when the A's are down in Anaheim, I could go to an Angels game because I live like 2 miles away, so I could walk over and just buy a ticket.
Have you ever been to the Big A?
No, I haven't been to the Angel Stadium yet.
I went there one time when we were down there, and they were playing the Rangers, and Josh Hamilton was there, and it was actually a pretty high scoring game. It's actually a really nice stadium over there. They have that big, massive rock over there, but and they get really good attendance there. They get like 30,000 people there for the most part, or especially when I went. So yeah, you got to go over there, man, for sure. Have you been to a Dodgers game?
No, I haven't been.
Tyler, have you been to that stadium?
No, I'm not giving them my money.
I mean, the two teams they televise out here are the two teams I can't stand, the Angels and the Dodgers. So maybe I'm gonna have to get an MLB package so I can get the A's or something.
You might have to, at least the radio package. That's what I do. At least $3 a month. That's like the best deal out there. You get to listen to any game you want for $3. It's awesome. Hey, Tyler, me and you talked earlier in the week. You said you kind of wanted to bring up something about the deadening of the ball, and so I was looking up on what just kind of stuff going forward with what you might be talking about. So I'll kind of like give you the floor on this one. What were you kind of thinking about that?
Well, there was clearly a lot of home runs being hit the last couple of years. Like Pete Alonso hit 53, breaking the rookie record, or 50 something. And this year, the baseball, the pitchers have said it has a different feel. And Major League Baseball just acquired where they make the baseballs in Costa Rica. So now they're like altering the ball to kind of deaden it a little bit. So there's less home runs, and maybe people will learn to hit a little better and use the opposite field in the long run. I think maybe that's what they're thinking. But baseball always alters things that help a hitter or help a batter, depending on which way the wind is blowing that year. So,
you think they got too much pushback about the home runs?
Yeah, I think they're just getting too much pushback about it's either a strikeout or a home run. Like, there's not enough action in play where they're trying to.
Why now? It seems like that's been going on for the last like 8 years. Why now? You think finally?
I think it's an all-time high of home runs or strikeouts, like percentage-wise. Like, there's people who strike out 200 times, and it's like fine, we'll still give you a $300 million contract as long as you're hitting 40 jacks and driving in.
I was driving into work this week, and I heard one of the morning shows. They were talking about the Giants' hitting philosophy, and the guy was saying what Kapler says is their hitting approach is basically, we'd rather have you strike out not swinging on a bad pitch, or like a pitch that you thought was a ball that was then called a strike, because instead of trying to fight it off, because we don't want you to build bad habits, and we want you to continue to only swing at pitches that you can drive. And in my head, I was thinking like, man, like Earl Weaver would probably be like spearing Gabe Kapler for like a comment, or like an old like coach, or like Tommy Lasorda. Like, I don't know, like you're right. Like Brian, like I know you kind of got away from baseball for a little bit. Like it seems like maybe that's what it is a little bit, the lack of action a little bit. Like I think Tyler, that's definitely a good point for sure. I don't know, like I looked it up, 2019. So 2 years ago, there were 6,776 home runs. That's like by far the most. Okay, so if we go to the steroid era, I looked. That's where I was curious. Like, okay, how many was hit in the actual steroid era where they kind of blow it up? Give me the number you think that was hit in 1998. The Sosa McGuire. Just guess.
You said 6,000 for
6,776 is what was happening in 2019. So just take a guess for 98. If you just had to guess, I don't put you on the spot.
5,800. Just based on you saying 6,000 was the highest.
Okay. Brian, you got a number out there?
I probably would say 5,500.
Not bad. Going under, Tyler. Going under, the price is right there. It was only actually 5,064. So there was 1,700 more hit. You know what I mean? We kind of think of the steroid area. So that kind of gives to your point of what you're saying about it's like they had to do something. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, you know what I mean? And I couldn't find the stat for last year in 60 games. So I know like for like baseball nerds like us, like it is more fun when you have people out there trying to steal bases and like, like maybe not bunting, but like more just like wreaking havoc, I guess, a little bit more.
Some hit and run and just a little strategy.
I mean, it's kind of nice. Like, I'm not saying we need like the Mikey Yeagers of the world all the time out there. They'll run them. You know what I mean? But it is kind of fun to have that other aspect of the game too. So I think that's the part we're kind of pushing for a little bit too. And it's funny though that MLB makes the adjustment like that to me. It's just like money. It's just funny to me. Like, and then the fact it kind of even plays to your point more about a few years ago, like manipulating the ball for more home runs. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's kind of insane. And I guess when every pitcher throws 98 miles per hour, that probably helps either. It doesn't take too much to get it out of there, out of the park too often. Unless you play for the Giants, of course. Oh, cheap shot on that one right there.
They don't have anyone that hits you that far either.
It seems like the stadiums they make lately favor hitters and home runs. That's the other point I got to make.
No, you are so right on with that. I'm glad you actually brought that up because if you look at old time photos, like, I mean, you got pictures like where it's like center field's 457. It's like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, you're right. They're absolute bombs. Yeah, there was a couple stadiums that had some short porches and stuff like that, like Yankee Stadium, but they also had some really, just mammoth deep areas. I mean, just imagine all the complaining over the last 20 years about the Giants' right center field. I mean, you know what I mean?
The Polo Grounds was 290 to the poles and then 380 to center, or 480 to center field, or maybe even more than that.
I think you're like right there.
It was like crazy looking stadium.
I always enjoyed playing that one or like video games there.
Yeah.
It was like one of my favorite stadiums. I remember us trying to do home run derby and trying to purposely try to hit it out of center field. That was like our goal. None of us could. It was like the hardest thing to do. Is like to time it to hit it out of center field at the Polo Grounds. Hey, so Some of the things that we kind of noticed here about the early baseball notes so far during spring training. I wanted to get your thoughts on maybe who might be the MVPs of this season. If you had to make like an early prediction, I know you've probably been looking at the teams a little bit more now. I'll go first. I'll lead the NL charge on this one. I personally think Nolan Arenado is going to be the MVP. I just feel like he's primed to have a big year. I feel like making that trade over, and the Cardinals always seem to have a little magic once in a while. So I could see him, carrying them to possibly the best record, maybe overcoming the Dodgers to have the best record and winning the MVP. Brian, you got anybody for the NL MVP?
I'd probably say Fernando Tatis Jr. I think he's gonna take even a bigger step this year because the Padres, they loaded up around him, and I think they got a really good team.
Well, you're definitely right about they loaded up around him. That is no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, that's a good choice. I feel like he's the sexy pick in a way to win it. T?
I'll take a junior, but I'll go a different direction with Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. I just think I should have gone with
his stat. He can put up those stats, though, huh?
Oh yeah, easy. He was a stud. I should have gone with Juan Soto.
I was gonna say he was the guy I think that I had second. So
I could see it.
Who are you going with?
I'll go with Juan Soto actually.
Juan Soto, the Soto shuffle. I like it.
He has Trey Turner in front of him. I think he's gonna have a big year.
I kind of think he's the best pure hitter, like just in terms of like right now, just like average. If you combine the average power type of thing, I kind of want to say he reminds me of Bobby Abreu, but I think he's better than that, though. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
I don't know. Yeah, Brian?
I would say if you're going to go with the Braves, I would always pick Freddie Freeman, but
he kind of looks like you a little bit, right? You've always said that. You said you and Freddie. That's your boy, right there.
I always played either first base or right field in Little League, so Freddie Freeman plays first base.
First base and right field.
I think you'd be a good backstop back there.
A good catcher, a lefty catcher. Brian's a lefty back there. Might be a little tall there for the strikes. That's not good if you're taller in Little League than everybody else when you're pitching over there. All right, so AL MVP. I got Matt Chapman. I'm gonna go with him. I feel like the A's get these MVPs once in a while right before they go for free agency, and then that's when they get. So I'm gonna go out on a limb a little bit. I'm gonna say the A's win the division. I'm gonna say he has a big year. He was on his way to a big year last year. Then he got hurt again. And I feel like he's on the verge of putting it together. He just hasn't been able to he's either has like a good first half and he never really has been able to finish that second half very well. So that's kind of what I'm banking on a little bit. So hopefully he kind of bucks that track record a little bit. So I'm going to go on a limb a little bit. He was like he surprised me. He was number 6 on like the MVP favorites. That kind of surprised me in the AL. So he's not as low as I kind of thought. Austin Meadows, just to let you guys know, is like 20th. So he's 20th favorite to win the MVP. Austin Meadows, if you want to put any money on him, 5,000 to 1. Tyler, who you got? Austin Meadows.
No, I'm not taking, but I am taking an outfielder in the AL East. I'm going to go with George Springer. New face, new place. I think he's going to get a lot of credit for this offense that is going to be pretty lethal in Toronto.
You think he'd get more than Vlad even?
Yeah, he's better than Vladdy.
Are they playing in Toronto this year? I haven't even looked that up. I should look that up.
I believe so. I think they might have a couple games in Buffalo, wherever they're. Yeah,
they were in Buffalo there. That'd be kind of cool if they actually were in Buffalo. I don't know.
I'd rather play in Toronto than Buffalo. That's ridiculous.
Probably so. You're probably right. The players are probably like, you idiot. So, Brian, who you got?
I have to give you props. You're going with the A's homer pick early. I mean, that's
Ryan,
something
this is not a homer pick. This is just reading the free agent. You know how it goes. The Giambino left, and you got Miguel Tejada. You know, this is just kind of how the A's do business a little bit. He's got Scott Boras as his agent. You know, I can see him winning the MVP, getting paid $270, which is ridiculous. And, you know, something stupid like that. And I mean, he is a great defender too. I mean, him and Arenado are like the two best. So that gives him that's why I kind of play to that advantage if they just have good offensive seasons on top of their Gold Gloves. So who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Mike Trout.
Oh, talk about the favorite. That's no limb there. It's crazy. He was like
I
think
the Angels are going to make the playoffs this year, and I think he's going to lead them there. So,
you know who their pitching staff is? Me neither. They're buds.
I have to agree with Tyler on this. Well, what are you thinking? The Angels. You just said a second ago you hate the Angels, the passionate. Now you're rooting for the Angels. They're the only team with an under 500 record for 5 straight seasons.
I have to go out on a limb on one of these teams.
That's a big ass limb, man. I like it, man. I'll give it to you. So that means if Trout wins the MVP, the thing that would happen with Trout, I gotta look it up now, is how many times has he won the MVP? 3, right? 3 times.
So he's coming second, like 4.
Yeah, and I wonder how many times a team has actually made the playoffs. Once, right?
Yeah,
or twice. So. And I mean, if it was twice, it was early on when they had Vladimir, and I think 1 year down the line there.
Because I know they played the Royals 1 year, right?
In the playoffs? Oh, yeah. Is that when the A's blew it?
Yeah, I think, but the Royals swept out the Angels. So it was like 3-0 pretty much.
I do remember that. That game alone plays to Tyler's point about the ball and like bringing back speed. Like, if you have anybody that can just put pressure on the bases, it changes everything, especially from the 7th inning on. Right? I mean, right? Or go ahead, T.
Especially if you have John Lester on the mound who refuses to throw to first base.
That does not help. I agree. Not being able to make a throw to first base is very concerning. That always blew my mind. I'm like, how can you not throw 45 feet, but you can throw 60 feet? I don't know what it was like. Just the object he was throwing to, or something. I guess I don't know what it was.
Maybe when he was a kid, he hit someone in the face, and he likes to throw to people wearing protective gear. I don't know.
I guess so. That's funny to me. All right. Well, you guys got anything else on the MLB?
Go Giants.
Go Giants. All right. Well, we'll get more into as we get closer to spring training. We know people aren't too interested in those Cactus League and Grapefruit League stats yet, so we'll hold off on that for right now. So we'll get to the regular season here a little bit. Glad to have some fans back. Looking forward to taking the kids here at some point. All right, we'll be back with a little NFL talk here with Baby Scheffner. He's going to give us the updates here, so we'll be back with that. All right, and we're back. NFL part of the show here. Brian, this is why we bring you in. This is what the ladies show up for. This is why everybody watches. I mean, this is the top dog here. We're in the freaking beginning of March. You're fired up about the NFL, the pigskin. And so that's why we have you on here for the NFL notes. I got to ask you the first question. What was the Cardinals? They get JJ Watt. I know you had to be a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they kind of overpaid for him a little bit just to get him in a Cardinals uniform. I mean, I felt like they could have like maybe lowered the price on JJ Watt, because I don't know. It seems like JJ Watt's been injury prone over the last 2 years, and I think they're banking on that he's going to be fully healthy.
Does this mean that Fitzgerald's retiring too? Is he taking his place as the leader on that team? Is my favorite player in the last 20 years finally retiring, Tyler? Is he gone?
Will Larry Fitzgerald be retired? I don't think so. I think he'll be back.
He keeps doing this like little weight thing here. What do you think of Watt to the Cardinals? You think it's a big deal?
I think it's a great signing. I don't think he was I think someone would have paid him.
I mean, you got him and Chandler Jones now, right?
Yeah, when he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the NFL. I mean, he's getting a little long in the tooth, but I think he's going to be just fine. And I've heard that Arizona might become a destination like place for players like JJ Watt, or even a little lesser known.
Players moving out of
Still,
California now.
yeah, getting that little tax break that Arizona gives you. I mean, he was already in Houston, and there's no taxes there really. So
yeah, no,
yeah.
for sure. And he's playing with. I think because he's actually playing with. I think the Cardinals' defense was bad last year, but I think it has potential. I really do with like some of the pieces they have had. Like Simmons last year was a pretty good rookie, and then you got Jones, and they got that other guy on the defensive line too. I just can't think of. And you still have Peterson back there, so I mean you got like a veteran kind of a defense in some ways as well. So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting signing from the week too. Brian, you got anything else? You got some other things from the NFL too that you thought was interesting?
Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson took the trade thing to another level when he went up to the coach and said he's not going to play it down for the Texans. So it's like, where do the Texans take it from here? He said he's going to sit out actual games. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so this is where it always comes down to it, right? Is he actually going to sit out games? He can be as pissed as he wants, but they don't have to trade him. So I mean, like, will he actually sit out games?
I could see him sitting out preseason games. I don't know about regular season.
Deshaun Watson's not playing in the preseason anyway at this point in his career. But yeah, I think he'll sit out regular season games to get traded. I wouldn't want to play. That franchise is a joke.
You take the fines?
Play. Yeah. But if I'm the Texans, I'll keep recollecting that contract I gave you, and I'm not in a hurry to trade him.
Are they turning into the Browns / like Raiders of the early 2000s, or like kind of the late, like the mid 2000s? Is that what they're turning into?
It's looking that way.
I mean, their ownership is in like dismay in terms of like how they're running the organization. They put their new GM in a horrible spot to get any type of like reputation. You know what I mean? To like get anything done, as this is their first move, and they hire like, they hire like a coach that nobody really is known of or something like that. So there's just kind of a lot of heat on them right now for sure, and they've made some just weird decisions with the Bill O'Brien thing was the weirdest thing, making him GM and coach and letting him trade Deshaun Hopkins for a bag of peanuts or something like that. Are you kidding me? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So they're a massive joke, like you're saying, for sure. So I don't know. What do you think he ends up on, like a different team then eventually, or how's this play out, Brian?
Yeah, I think I actually see him on the Carolina Panthers, because the Panthers have a lot of draft stock to go get him, and they're kind of at a position where they're in kind of rebuild mode, so they could probably send a bunch over the Texans to get Deshaun Watson.
You're not kind of slow there, buddy. No, Bridgewater. No, your thing went out on us over here. Hey, what does that mean for Bridgewater? He just gets traded in any deal for Deshaun Watson, basically, if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I just think Bridgewater's going to end up with somebody else, maybe like a veteran team as like a backup or something. I don't see him as like a starter.
It cracks me up, Brian, because of how all the how hot topic, like, or how like Bridgewater was like, oh man, he's back, and then 1 year later, like, oh, just can't wait to make this guy somebody's backup. Like I don't know, it just like goes left and right. It goes like, it just changes so quickly. So I heard Watson doesn't want to go to the Niners, and I've heard some comments by John Lynch that he's pretty committed to Garoppolo. So it sounds like my dream of him coming to the Niners and maybe is not really going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like it would destroy the whole team just to get him over here. So I feel like the Niners just don't want to do that.
I don't know, Tyler. I mean, we've talked about it. You get Watson, though.
I don't know how it destroys the whole team. I don't like. What do you give it up to get him? 4 first-round picks? Like,
yeah, I mean,
still have your. Who have they drafted good in the first round? I mean, Kinlaw's been okay.
I mean, but
Bosa's been a beast, but that was a top 3 pick. They're not looking to be in the top 5 or top 10.
I'm just saying they're gonna want Bosa or some like.
They can go suck it then if they want Bosa. Like,
yeah,
they're not gonna get some stud D lineman from anybody they're offering trades for.
I'm just saying that they want a legitimate player back in return. That's what they've been saying.
They can have Jimmy Ward.
I think the Texans are just in no position to really ask for much. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, how they get Nick Bosa? Like, I'd rather have Nick Bosa than Deshaun Watson if I have Garoppolo. Not that I like Garoppolo much, but Ed's pass rushers just as tough to get as
I think
franchise quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in trouble. I saw Big Ben signed back with the Steelers. They gave him the Peyton Manning deal where they basically said, "Hey, why don't you take a little haircut? We'll keep you around." So I saw he's back with the Steelers. They kind of seem like they need to make some big moves as well to get back into the race. They kind of just folded down the stretch as well. So I thought it was interesting that he came back as well. Next week's a big free agent week, though, right? Isn't it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when the free agency period starts.
People are getting cut left and right. I saw the Saints cut Cam Jordan. I thought he's a decent free agent. I thought maybe for like the Raiders to pick up or something.
I mean, I'd rather have him than JJ Watt.
Yeah, so I thought he'd be a good pick. And that, so I'm looking. What do the Niners need? I was going to ask you guys that. What if you're looking for an ideal, like, what are you looking for? I mean, do they need a receiver? I mean, like I said, I think they need a quarterback. But I mean, what do if they keep him, which they're going to do? What do they need?
Lineman and secondary.
So nothing.
Yeah,
sexy, really.
I would agree with Tyler on that.
How about receiver?
I mean, they could use a receiver, sure, but that's not a need. Like, they've gotten by the last 2 years. Okay, like Garoppolo's year he had 2 years ago is really good. Like, if you actually look at the numbers.
Yeah.
I feel like you could also get somebody in the draft because we have the 12th pick. So,
who do you want them to draft?
That tight end out of Florida. Like you can make him an offensive tight end and have Kittle do what he does, like in the run blocking game. And
what's his name again?
What?
What's his name again?
Pitts,
yeah. I don't think he's going to be there at 12. What I keep hearing.
No, I mean I've heard he's like a top like 10, 11, 12, 13. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I feel like that tight end. I feel like those are the ones that people have been trading up for more to go in the top 10 lately. Like the guys that are like the Ebroms, like he went in the top 10, and there was another guy that went.
The two Iowa guys.
Yeah, the two Iowa guys. So
Hawkinson.
I feel like people are going to be trading up more for quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, it seems like, or maybe not a lot of good ones, but a lot of them that teams need.
There's 4 that could go in the top 15. So.
What was the draft with like Christian Ponder or something?
I feel like the Patriots need to do that. Make a trade up, try to get somebody in there that they could, somebody that they can maybe groom or something.
Stidham isn't the answer?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think Bill thinks he's the answer. Adam, I was talking to Adam about the Patriots. I was like, "We gotta have you on, man. Come on, we gotta get your knowledge up on them. You gotta update us on it." So hopefully, he can come on one time to update us on it. The Patriots are kind of stuck, and that'd be so funny if they have to bring back Cam Newton again. I don't know why. I just feel like maybe that's what they're thinking. Just bring him back again, and just keep building up the team and just keep running that same 7 touchdown throwing offense. Or I don't know.
Brian, while you're here, will Russell Wilson get moved? The Bears go get him?
No, I don't see Seattle doing anything there.
I feel like it's heating up a little bit more than I expected. I thought it'd be dead already, but I don't know.
Is he pissed, Tyler?
It seems like it. If it's still in the news and it's getting hotter, like it seems. I don't know what happened, but
I heard he was feeling better because they helped the offensive coordinator that I thought they hired. He kind of got to have say, and maybe that's not enough to keep him from wanting to get traded.
I mean, he has Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf on the outside. You're not going to get two better weapons, from most teams, especially the Bears, which is the big rumor. Like, why would you want to go to the Bears? It's freezing cold and you have no weapons.
I mean, players always seem to have issues with Seattle, like even their premier players. Like at some point, they've always wanted to get out of there. I wonder if it's like upper management or something going on there.
That's actually not a bad call.
Maybe Pete Carroll smacks his gun too hard. Gets annoying.
I wonder. I think you're right. I think Seattle, they manage their budget kind of like New England does. And when you hit a limit on them, they kind of say, regardless of your talent, you're here. And I think that's what my understanding with Wilson's issue is that he doesn't feel like they've put enough money or draft stock into the offensive line. And it sounds like that's part of the issue as well, is that he doesn't feel as protected. But at the same time, I mean, he's one of the quarterbacks that like scrambles all the time anyway. So, how many of those times is he getting out of that to the pocket as well? So I don't know. That's an interesting one. We'll see what happens with that. I know you guys would be stoked if he was out of the NFC West, like we've talked about before. So
Seattle would be trash without
that would change that division. No doubt, that would change that division for sure.
I missed when they were throwing out Tavares Jackson and
Tavares Jackson. I don't know why I was randomly thinking of, and he played for Seattle. I was randomly thinking of Seneca Wallace the other day.
From Iowa State.
Iowa State. They were saying it was like top 10 most exciting college players of all time, and somebody put like put like Barkley third or something. It was not a very good list or something like that. And it got me thinking about other guys. Brian, Tyler, you got anything else for him?
Always a pleasure, big guy. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Brian. Thanks for coming on, man. Again, appreciate it. I know as we get closer to the draft next month, we're going to want to have you on to maybe do the mock draft with us. So we'll look forward to doing that with you. Maybe see what the Niners do at 12, and maybe what the Raiders do with their first round pick as well. So thanks for checking in with us again, and we'll see you on the next one, buddy.
All right, perfect. Talk to you then.
All right, later, guys. See ya.
Later, man.
We'll be back. Me and T will be back with the NBA. All right, we're back with the NBA part of our podcast this week. Tyler, NBA All-Star game tonight. You gonna be watching any of it?
No.
A 3-point contest?
I'll watch the 3-point contest.
Yeah,
Dunk contest is out. The three guys in it have no interest. I mean, our old host would have loved to watch Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin up there. Simmons from Portland apparently, and somebody else. I don't know. You help me with the third.
Simon and like some crazy Cassius Stanley or something. I think that's it actually. Something Stanley. Cassius Stanley.
Okay.
Some guy I've never heard of, to be honest.
What teams he play for?
I have no idea. I've never heard his name before until I saw the NBA.
Remember a couple of years ago they took somebody like he was like just up from the G League like 10 days and he was like in the dunk contest like
yeah.
I thought that was funny. Hey, so the NBA we want to get into always a little bit of a Warriors angle with us. They come off like kind of a rough week, but they kind of have that really rough loss to Portland on Wednesday night, 110-106. In the midst of that game, we kind of got that Lillard Curry matchup. And kind of for the first time, with kind of even in the sense of they're both so dominantly running their teams offensively, and everything is really circled around them. They both are. Lillard's without CJ and Nurkic, and Curry's without Thompson, of course, and without the same team he had before. So it kind of made it a little bit more interesting. Curry played slightly better, but Lillard at the end came up with the big shot. Warriors, for some reason, decided not to double team him on that last possession. And he hits his trademark step back there on Bazemore to give him the lead. And then Draymond gets the charge on the following play there. But I think the thing we kind of wanted to touch more on was, these two guys. And I guess the angle I kind of wanted to ask you towards is Lillard's high school coach brought up this week that he felt like if they switch spots, they're basically their whole career. Curry was drafted in 2010, Lillard in 2012. So basically, whatever, hypothetically, if you drop Lillard in that Warriors spot and Curry in that Portland spot, he pretty much thinks that they play out the same way. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that and that matchup there this week.
I disagree. I don't think Steph has a different. I mean, Dame's great. I'm not trying to, but Steph's different. Steph's a nuclear bomb on offense. He's unguardable. I think the spacing's different with Steph as it is with. There's no way they don't double Steph on that last play with the options the Warriors are running out right now.
And the thing to me with them also is with them specifically is Steph to me compared to Dame. I think it's a little bit different too because he's good off the ball, but Steph's elite. He's another level. And I looked at their stats, and Steph gets a lot bad credit for his defense, but he's pretty good with steals. Lillard's not quite the steal machine that you would think he is. He's only averaging 1 over his career. You know what I mean? Curry, I bet, is averaging a little bit more than that. I know he's had some good years with steals. To me, he's a little bit feistier there, and he can just do a little bit more things on offense. And when they've matched up in the playoffs, he's always got the better of them. Yeah, maybe they've had the better team, but there was a few times that, I don't know, maybe I thought they were more even in the matchup going in. And he kind of proved that he was, I thought, just a little bit more consistent in those areas at moments. But maybe Lillard is, starting to get to that spot as well, and changing it. So I thought that was kind of an interesting matchup. They might be the two. I mean, is Lillard number 3 behind Irving and Curry? Because that's how it kind of gets voted every year in the All-Star game, it feels like.
Player-wise, I think Dame's better than Kyrie.
You think so?
It
just always seems
bigger,
like
he's bigger and not as dramatic. He doesn't miss 2 weeks because of some random reason. But you said it best with Steph and Dame, which I didn't get to, was Curry plays off the ball. He's the best off the ball player in the NBA probably right now, which really sets up the Warriors offense when they have Clay and when they have those two running screens off of each other and setting screens for each other. It's unstoppable, basically, especially when you have a point forward like Draymond, where he'll succeed and play his best when it's like that.
Yeah, so I thought that's a good. His off the ball, I think what gives him a little bit over the top there, and I also think just his. I just feel he's a little bit more active defensively at times. I don't know. I guess he's bad at times too, but he does get steals. I feel like, and that kind of leads to a lot of transition. And he's smart. He understands the game, and so does Lillard. Lillard had a great defensive play the other day on Green, obviously. Yeah, I don't like the call itself, a charge like that, but he did make the right play and cut him over and won the game there with it. Hey, we're getting into matchups here. I'm going to kind of switch here to we went from point guard to the big men now. We kind of were talking about Embiid, and we've been talking about a lot about Jokic, I feel like, this year.
Yeah, we have.
On the podcast, and we maybe kind of been overlooking Embiid just a little bit. I think he right now is probably the MVP front runner as of right now. I think the Sixers are the 1 seed in the East. He's playing out of his mind. He got 40 points on Gobert the other night. And Gobert's a 2-time defensive player of the year, known as the best defensive player. And, to Embiid's credit, he's playing good defense as well. And I kind of like his little subtle jabs at the players he makes. And I kind of enjoy his personality with that stuff. He seems a little bit more locked in. Who do you got with him and Jokic? Where's your MVP ladder kind of right now, like just overall?
I mean, Jokic's team isn't doing well enough, so I'll go with Embiid. But these are the 2 best centers since Shaq. I would say.
Yeah, Shaq. And who else was in that? I guess it would be the Jermaine O'Neals of the world or stuff like that.
They're better than them.
It's not better than Shaq, obviously.
No.
Yeah,
Shaq's
Jermaine O'Neal.
But
that's what he said.
But both of these centers could average 40, 50, or 50, 40, and 90, and they're centers. It's a crazy, and they're both good passers, willing passers. Jokic a little more. Embiid's a better scorer, more athletic.
Yeah,
they're just 2 dynamic players that control the ball, control the game, while being 7 foot.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think the thing also is they both have the skill that will play from the outside too. Maybe not quite like a Giannis,
but they don't really
skill, but it's more efficient. No, exactly. They don't depend on it, and that's where Giannis to me lacks it. Not to bring this to Giannis, but you can see the difference now moving forward as they're starting to age. The less post game you have, you can't always dictate the offense from the perimeter like you always want. It's easier to. So when you can do both, you can play the post, and then when you get on the perimeter, it's not as often. So the defense can't just you know what I mean? It's a little bit harder for them to kind of play you that way because you're not consistently doing it. And so it's really neat for me to see. You know how much I love post play, so I'm really enjoying the matchups between them. I just hope he keeps staying healthy.
Well, you bring up Giannis. Giannis is a way better perimeter player. Well, he can't shoot as well as both of these guys, but he handles and is way more agile than both of these guys.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Different type of
But I still feel like Giannis could be a skinny, unreal block player. That's just what I feel like. So
I agree.
So So if I take this to MVP a little bit, we take those two guys. They're obviously in the running, right? People kind of say Lillard or Steph, but let's be realistic. They're not. There's just no way that they're getting in the conversation. I don't feel like they can win it. And then you also have LeBron, who just kind of feels like he's getting as we've always said, that this was going to be a year for him. And then I guess I just kind of didn't think of him, but I guess James Harden too is getting a lot of love too for the MVP talk. Do you have anybody else, or is it really just, or is Harden?
Doncic could get into it if they start winning. They've started winning, so
yeah,
his numbers are just there. So, and I think people want to vote for Doncic, like the writers and stuff, whereas they don't want to vote for Steph and Dame and.
No, or Harden.
I don't think Harden's winning it just based on the first month of the season where he.
That's why I think Embiid's the favorite too.
Embiid has to be the favorite. The thing with LeBron is he's played 36 of 37 games, so he's obviously going for the MVP because it was the quickest turnaround in NBA history from finals the first game.
Yeah,
and he took his first game off like a week ago or a couple days ago, so he's going for the MVP. Like.
Space Jam is coming out this summer. I think it's important if he wins the MVP and wins the finals. That's the movie will be off the charts, just like Jordan's was in that comeback year. That's what he's going for. Are you watching Space Jam 2, by the way? Have you seen the preview for it?
I haven't. I've seen like pictures. I'm not excited for it.
The pictures crack me up. His hairline is unreal. His hairline is unreal. They've done a great job.
They really edited Lola Bunny not to be so feminine.
No, they made her a little bit more athletic there.
No, a little chubbier, not as wearing like she didn't have like the tube top. She had like a full jersey.
A little bit more.
A little less sexualized.
Gotcha.
For Lola.
I want to keep it a little bit cleaner there. Yeah, so I saw that. My kids are all excited for Space Jam 2, even though they have no idea who LeBron James is. But they do know who Michael Jordan is, so I'm guessing after this movie they will know who LeBron James is.
I can guarantee you they know who Bugs Bunny is.
That they do. Hey, one last thing here at the NBA I want to get into, actually maybe two, is real quick. I've listened to Bill Simmons' podcast, and he was saying that he thought the Hornets for him are the most watchable team. And I kind of thought that was a little surprising, but we got to see them play the Warriors this week, and I saw they were on NBA TV against the Hornets as well, so I got to see him play, not the whole game, but a little bit then. And Ball is pretty exciting. I mean, he's getting better. He's getting more efficient. His three-point shooting is much better than I think anybody thought it would be. I've been dead wrong about him. I can admit it. So it kind of brings me back to Wiseman because there's been a lot of talk about now, Warriors fans regret this. And, I think you have like the Warriors fans and easy waiters to say, well, big man, they take time to develop. They take time. So I think as a fan, you can kind of say that and your mind feel better about it. But are you starting to think like now as we're watching Wiseman more, like we're starting to see more of his deficiencies? It doesn't mean he's not going to get better at the other things, but you're seeing some of his deficiencies, and you're seeing Ball succeed in this kind of open flow offense where he's kind of just free to go. And I feel like sometimes that also can play against Wiseman. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on, would you still be with Wiseman, and just your overall thoughts with Wiseman and Ball?
I'd still draft Wiseman. I don't know. Okay. I don't see the deficiencies that other people are seeing. Yeah, I see the deficiencies. Like, he's a 19-year-old player that hasn't played 30 games outside of high school basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not. LaMelo is playing pro basketball at 16 years old. So of course he adjusted a little quicker first year. And point guards, it's easier to succeed as a point guard, like we said. So I'm not like, I think I'd rather have Ball for this year, obviously, or maybe even next year. But I think Wiseman's going to get better and better and better and better and better. And maybe he never does catch LaMelo, and I could be wrong, but that's the potential of having that big man. That could be like an Embiid and Jokic one day.
No, I hear you. I think at this point, it's early on. So just at this point right now, I haven't seen that like natural thing yet for him where it makes me think like, okay, that's his thing. That's where I could see him like really taking that. Because I was texting Adam, as you know, Warriors Chalk talking here. And we kind of have the same concerns at this point is like he doesn't have a feel for passing. That to me, that's the one concern I kind of really do have is he doesn't seem like he has really a feel for like that part of it yet. So that kind of concerns me, and just like the openness of like missing shooters once in a while and just little things like that. Adam doesn't like his screening. I haven't watched enough in depth to really care enough about the screening, but I think I get his point. Like he's missing some like that. When you have Bogut and like the Petrulas, the veteran centers of the world that you watch beforehand, then that's their only job. You're seeing them set kind of different screens than a 19-year-old rookie. And then the other thing with him that kind of worries me just a little bit is his rebounding. I kind of was hoping he'd be a little bit better rebounder for his size already at this point. But like you said, we can say, hey, he's a rookie. It's not a big deal. We'll give it time. So, but at the same time, the facts are right now it's looking like maybe Ball is kind of like that next step player. But I still think it'd be a weird fit with the Warriors. That's why it's kind of like this. You feel good about it too. It just would be a weird fit to have Ball on this team as well.
It would be awkward. But like we said earlier, Curry can play off the ball so well.
True.
It's not I don't think and it'd be nice to have a big guard. Like we don't really have that can do anything offensively except for shoot a three. Like
Sean Livingston or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be weird to see how he would play with Green off the ball.
That'd be interesting. Why does Draymond Green keep getting the ball at the end of games? I don't get it. Come on, Steve.
Well,
get this guy off the ball.
He got double teamed, and then he pump faked, and the guy jumped around him, and he went in. And Lillard, that should not have been a charge call, by the way. That was not a good call, I felt like. You shouldn't be able to slide over, jump vertically, play real basketball. Don't just undercut people.
He didn't undercut him. He got there before he jumped.
It was a horrible call. It's a horrible call.
Yeah,
it was worse than that Nowitzki on Jason Richardson call 20 years ago. That's the one that's the one I remember the most. So that's the one I hate. Hey, one quick last thing on basketball. Blake Griffin, I saw Detroit bottom out. Is he done? Is he over the hill, or does he have like a year left of good basketball if he's on a good team?
Good basketball? I don't know. I think he can score.
Can he be the third, fourth best player on a team?
15 points a game. No, he's done. He's the third or fourth best player.
No, he's done.
I don't want him on my team.
He made the All-Star game last year. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, he can't even dunk anymore. He hasn't dunked in over a year.
He's taking like 8 threes a game. It's crazy.
What good are Blake Griffin if he can't dunk?
What team would you like to see him on? So I heard the Clippers, the Warriors, the Nets, and the Lakers are the favorites. But I just feel like those aren't teams that he would fit. I'm like, he's not going back to the Clippers. The Lakers, I don't see – that would be kind of an interesting one. I feel like that might be the best fit just because you're playing with LeBron.
It's always a good choice to play with LeBron.
The Warriors, you see him and Draymond playing together?
Hopefully they get in a fight.
I don't see that. Where do you see him going? Where do you like it? Nets?
Probably. I think he'll end up on the Lakers, actually. Those are the 4 teams. Yeah. I can't see him playing with the Nets either.
He's kind of a weird fit at this point now, huh?
He just seems so unlikable, and like that's maybe because I'm a Warriors fan and I just hated the guy for years. Like he's somebody I look at it and go, I couldn't get along with that guy. I don't think I'd like him very much.
I do love that video of him with the water bottle in the fan.
Yeah, it's a great.
He's like,
it's spilling on the Warriors fan.
That was
pretty funny. I'll give him credit for that.
What's better, that one or the Jason Kidd hit me with the water and then spilling it on the ice to get a timeout? That's the other good one for sure.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd,
we need another timeout.
We need another timeout now. Hey, just random thought for our veteran old school players. I've been watching for some reason this week a ton of old school video of John Stockton. I don't know why, just interviews and
I went on a John Stockton kick like a little bit ago.
And I was watching this old one against him and the Lakers, and he had 24 points, something like that, 24 assists and 5 steals. And just I recommend watching it. Just it's like a 12-minute video because it's highlights, but Chick Hearn's the broadcaster, and he's just if anybody that doesn't know Chick Hearn, like he's just one of a kind. He was so good for back then. Just some of his like one-liners, like good thing you didn't miss the bus. People get like just so he was unreal. Like I didn't realize he had 3,000 more assists than Jason Kidd. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah,
that's crazy.
Pick and roll, like pick and pops with Malone.
He had an interview with Dan Patrick, and Dan Patrick's like, so what did John Stockton actually? What did he do better than you? And Jason Kidd's like, I think he had like 3,000 more assists. Just trying to make it funny. So, just recommend watching some videos of John Stockton.
He's first all time in assists and steals.
Yeah, and and has a great reputation around the league. Like, you know, if you have guys like Gary Payton and Isaiah Thomas saying that,
fiery son of a gun.
yeah, exactly. Missed like what 5 games in his career, something like it's like it's single digits. Karl Malone missed 3.
That's crazy. You draft 2 guys back to back, and then they don't miss a game for you, basically for
play 18
10
plus
years. Yeah, 15 years.
18 plus years they play together on the same team. 18 plus, and then Malone played a few more on the other team. That's insane. That will never happen again. I think. I don't even think Clay and Steph will get to that point. I think that one of them ends up leaving or something like that before it even gets to like something like that.
Dallas could have done it with Nash and Dirk if they kept Dirk Nash, but they were idiots.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good decision on that one for sure. Yeah, there's some great old school videos out there, some games. I was watching a little bit of the Curry-Durant matchup where Curry hits the 12 threes in the regular season. You know, the one that kind of made him famous. That was a good game to go watch again. So, yeah. So I recommend doing that. Also, some good podcasts out there. I know Tyler's been listening to some ones as well. I listened to, like I said, the House of Hoops as well. That's a good one. They had a good podcast this week I listened to. And then our guy, of course, I Don't Know Sports, has one out tomorrow as well. So, yeah, a lot of good podcasts out there. Give them a chance. Give them a listen. T, have a good week, my man.
You as well.
Maybe I'll see you and your dad tomorrow for some Mexican food. All right, we'll see you there. Well, we can talk a little fancy baseball coming up this year.
Sounds great.
Or maybe the heartbreak of it, of your cousin not doing it.
All right, man. We're doing it without him.
We're doing it without him. All right, man. Take it easy. We'll see you on the next one.
Later.
Oh, yeah.